Hi everybody, welcome to this extremely long overdue video of our Until Dawn couples review. If you've seen our other videos, you know why this is late, but with that being said, on with the show. As you might already know, Until Dawn is a PlayStation 4 exclusive horror game that came out a couple of months ago. It led with the kind of like novel functionality of the butterfly effect, where the changes you make, the choice you make in the game changes the gameplay and affects the story and affects the characters that are alive and dead and so on and so forth. Something that really seemed interesting to me, my wife, and my main reason as to why we bought it in the first place. Now the story of the game is that you're a bunch of teenagers or young adults or whatever. I think after all the Hollywood stuff, you never know if they're adults or if they're teenagers. So at least youngish people that go to this secluded cabin in the mountains, only accessible with some kind of cabin car or whatever that obviously breaks down and whatnot. You get to play this prologue / tutorial thing before the game kicks off to kind of introduce the controls a bit and some of the stuff that you can do, introduce the butterfly effect to a certain degree, not that much, but it's kind of interesting. But the main story of the game takes place a year after the prologue, where you actually get to experience the game throughout the different points of view of the different characters. Now the game takes place throughout the entire night, and you get to play each and every character at different times and in different places, and the choices you make will affect which character you get to play when and with who lives and who dies and so on. It's a pretty cool functionality, but the main thing, the mainstay of the game, for me at least, is the character models, the animations, the way they move, they talk. I mean, the butterfly effect is a cool thing, yeah. I haven't really gotten it to work, I think. I made some decisions, but I didn't really understood it. But the realism of the faces, the voices, the way the characters move and they talk and the way they react to things, that is really cool. And that alone is a reason behind the game. I mean, I would love to call this game Peter Stormer Until Dawn, because he delivers an award-winning performance as the psychiatrist you see in the cutscenes in between the different parts of the games. I mean, just check this clip out, and if you don't agree with me, then you have no taste.
Remember this, I want you to remember this as you play your game. Every single choice will affect your fate and the fate of those around you. So, you have committed to commence with this game.
Now, while the models are really great and all that, I mean, sure, that is the main reason why I love the game. But people play this probably for the horror, you know, the scariness, being scared and just getting people killed, and maybe, I guess, some people have people survive, I don't know. And I must say the game is quite creepy. It scares us, scared both of us quite a few times. But after a while it gets repetitive. After a while you kind of know, after the big reveal, it's not that scary anymore, and at the end it's just same thing over and over, and it doesn't really scare you anymore, at least in my opinion. I kind of get that it all comes down to how you play the game and the choices you made, that you might get different endings or different paths to the ending, but after a while it just gets very repetitive when it comes to scare. But the story still remains pretty cool, and the animations, the models and all that, you know, stays crisp throughout the game. So all in all, I mean, the scary parts, yeah, they are very good up until the end, but I mean, I can overlook that. One thing that is kind of annoying throughout the entire game, however, is the control schemes. While fixed camera angles, which the game uses, are very good for setting up scares and jump scares around corners and what have you, it does get very annoying when you try to control your character and the stupid flashlight or torch or a mobile phone or whatever they have, and your character's going to the left and the torch is going to the right, and nobody has any idea where the hell you're going, and you can't see anything because you're aiming at the ceiling, and you know.
Okay, how do you get that one?
Oh, okay, right. He's a flashlight.
Aha. Alltså, jag really don't like it.
I mean, my woman is strong.
You're drunk?
What am I looking for? On the other hand, when it comes to the sequences where the butterfly effects comes to play, when the small quick time events and the decision making controls work really well, you really have to be on your toes sometime. That a tap of a button or pressing a button multiple times, you have to do it, and sometimes you even have to hold the control still, and that is harder than it seems, because it's really sensitive. You move it a little bit and it might go off and you might do something stupid, get someone killed, for example. I mean, it happened to me, and people died, and yeah, you know, that's it. And that is one thing that also comes down to the game, is that the good thing of the game is that once something's dead, it's dead. There's no checkpoint, there's no reloading, there's no nothing. You get somebody killed, he's gone. Pretty punishing. It does, however, open up a cool feature that we discovered playing as a couple, to create a little mini game where we decide before we started playing who do we want to live, who do we want to get killed, and so on. And we could just write down the list, and we'd stream this live on Twitch, and we had people in the chat telling us, you know, who they want to get killed and how to do it if we didn't know. And we could use the kind of like gamble the system a bit and use the system against itself and get people killed and get people to survive that we wanted to. And that meant that really annoying people, well, they were gone. So once we really hated somebody, we could just get them killed.
Behind you. Don't move, sorry.
Some of the characters are really annoying, very stereotypical American young adults. You have everything from bitchy to butch. Well, most of bitchy to butch are the women. The men are all very bland, very come help me please, save one, whereas the women are much more colourful in their characters. There's really no damsel in distress moments, bar a few times, but the main protagonist, at least from my point of view, is in fact a woman, a strong woman at that. And she has more balls than the men combined, so that works to his favor. But the really annoying characters that you kind of discover immediately that these guys are really annoying, you don't really want them to live, at least we didn't, and I think that's a kudos to the game. It's a plus that, but the characters can affect you so much that you really want them to die as soon as possible, and then you go really out of your way to get somebody killed, because some of the deaths are really easy. We messed up once and a guy died. We wanted him to die, but you know, not that fast. Whereas others are much more tricky, where you have to do a certain sequence, do this and that, and they get killed. But it adds a flavor to the game that we never, you know, haven't really seen before.
I've been making the moves on him. I'm just looking out for my girl, Em.
Just because he's class prez doesn't mean he belongs to everyone. Mike is my man.
Hey, I'm not anybody's man.
You guys are jerks. You know that? Hannah!
When it comes to like things that bothered us apart from the static controls, the static views, the kind of like annoying characters at times, is the fact that there's some immersion breaking, I wouldn't call them bugs, but issues. When you're being chased by something that's trying to kill you, if you're standing with a light in his face, surely it should be able to see you. I mean, it kind of kills it for me when I'm standing half a foot maybe it's called, away from something that's angry at me and they can't see me, even though I have a torch or like a portable light or whatever in its face. It kind of breaks the immersion for me. It kind of goes hand in hand with what I mentioned earlier, where at the end they just keep on throwing these things at you. I mean, the scares and the things chasing you and all that stuff, it just comes piling onto you. And then it's like you had so much, and then you just get to that moment and it's just hilarious. And you're like, how can you not see me? And after that, you're not scared anymore. That was like one of the few things that we noticed. It happened a few times, but at the same time, some of the jump scares that they do in the game early on are really effective. I mean, the little, whatever it is, like Wolverine kind of thing shooting out a cupboard. You've all probably seen it on YouTube or Twitch already. I mean, that scared the shit out of me. Literally, I almost had to change pants. Now, from a couple standpoint, I would mention the mini games that we were able to come up with we could play together. But it was also very convenient with the changing of perspectives. So every time we changed the perspective to another character, we could change controller. We could just hand the controller to my wife and she could play for a while until we changed again and she could hand it back to me. It's also very convenient when two people playing together and you know, want to go for a toilet break or whatever. The other guy can just keep on playing and just give you a recap. It also tells it after every chapter. It's like one of those TV episode moments that I usually find annoying, but this time was actually quite good because I was awake quite a bit, you know, getting drinks or going to the toilet, and then you can just get a recap of what happened in between each chapter. But it's a pretty cool feature in this kind of game because there are a lot of stuff going on, and every playthrough is supposed to be different. So these things are also different. All in all, I would say this is a brilliant game for couples, especially if you don't particularly enjoy playing horror games on your own. This is a very cool game that you can use. You can create these small mini games. You can, you know, pass the controller between you. You can cuddle each other when you have to in between. It's quite slow, so you don't really, you're not really at risk of failing unless there's an obvious QTE event going on where your character is running on its own and everything. I mean, at that point, you obviously you know that it's happening. But other than that, there's nothing really coming out and eating you, in my experience at least. So it's a pretty cool game in that sense where you can play together. Other than that, I would say that the mainstay, as mentioned before, is the graphics, the models, the way the acting is. It's almost like, they are actors. They brought in proper people, proper actors who know how to act, and it's the motion capture, whatever technology is perfect. As close to it perfect at least as I can get, I suppose. And it's eerie how well they look. They talk. I mean, the facial expressions, all of it just stands out. Eyes obviously look like dead people because creepy eyes. But other than that, I mean, it just looks great. It looks great. The music as well. I mean, the sound effects, the music design, all of that just really creates a real cool atmosphere along with all these characters and the surroundings. It really makes you feel like you're in a movie, like you're playing a story. The pacing of the story is pretty good as well. I mean, it's reveals, you stand a chance of missing something. I think I missed a huge part of the story by just not clicking on the thing, and I later looked it up somewhere and I was like, oh, okay, so that's what's supposed to happen just because I didn't read a book or whatever. But other than that, it's quite obvious when you do things. The totem system, the small totems you pick up to reveal things that might happen in the future, give you clues or tell you that, oh, this guy's going to die. It's also a pretty cool feature because, I mean, some of them can happen, some of them might not happen, some are just warnings, some are like, I don't think any of them are really certain, apart from one, or maybe a couple, I don't know, I don't really understand how it works, but it's pretty cool that it can and can't happen. Especially when I found one and then an event happened later on, it was exactly the way it was in the totem, and I was really amazed by that. It's like, wow, I saw this happen before, and I just remembered when the event happened, oh yeah, I was supposed to do this because the totem told me. On the other hand, I found one totem that said one thing and it never happened. I was never even close to the place, neither was my wife, and we played it together. So I don't know how it's supposed to work, but I think it, in general, was a really cool feature. So all in all, to summarize all this, it's a very short review. I don't, this has been postponed and procrastinated and everything for so long, and I just want to get it out there to say that we really love this game. I mean, we played it a couple of times. I played it 2 or 3 times by myself. I played it at least twice with my wife, and we really thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, and we give it a solid 8 out of 10 on account of the awesome Peter Stormer, the character models, the cool features with the butterfly effect, and the setting, the story, and the entire scenery and the immersion of the game. Now we take away a few points because of the really stupid camera. I hate static cameras, and the immersion breaking at the end of the game where they just pile scary on you and things happen that make no sense. So all in all, this is a really good horror game, especially for couples. So yeah, just if you like this review, just leave us a comment, follow us on our social media listed here below, and yeah, stay tuned for more videos. Thanks guys, bye.
Well, it seems we have uncovered some significant topics to explore in our next session. But for now, we're out of time. Have fun on your own. Until then. Do, 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 do.